We are a week away from Conclusion 2022. We were just talking a little bit about it pre-show. We are the first show of the day Saturday at 10 o'clock on the show floor. We will be talking 30 years of the weird, the wild, and the wacky Batman Returns, which I'm looking forward to that, hanging with you guys and talking Batman Returns, which is such a bizarre, strange movie. And we did Batman Returns on the show a couple years ago, and Long missed that episode, and he was a little upset about it. Some tears were shed because he wanted to talk Batman Returns. So we were like, well, let's revisit it. Won't be quite the same form, huh? What?
Oh,
I said it won't quite be the same format as our normal show. It'll be more of a shoot the shit kind of thing about Batman Returns, and we'll have some fun at Compalooza and discuss the movie and do some Batman type stuff, whatever that is, on a live show, and we'll see how it goes. Usually the live shows, we never know how they're going to go usually, but they usually turn out swell, I would say.
Swell, baby.
I think it might be a good word for it. But this is the Rebel Radio Podcast. This is Mark.
This is Matt.
Long.
And Long, what were you going to say about doing Batman Returns?
Oh, nothing. I already forgot.
I already forgot. Yeah. I mean, it really is like the weird Batman movie. Like, it gets kind of good and I kind of like it, but I also can step back and watch it and go, this is really fucking bizarre for a Batman movie. I mean,
it's arcade. Yeah.
I think it's dark for sure, but I don't think it's as weird as Batman Forever. A lot of respects. Or
finally,
yeah. I mean, I think Batman Forever is weirder on a different level because it's more campy.
Yeah,
you know, where Batman Returns is weirder with like the live penguins and just these guys in these clown suits and just like there's just a lot of weird stuff going on, you know. But it works, you know, somehow. And so you know, it'll be fun to talk about. I remember as a kid seeing my first, well, it wasn't a kid. I guess it was about 16 maybe when it came out. I was always wondered like where Batman was returning from. That used to really bother me as a kid. I'm like, why is it called Batman Returns? Like, where did he go? He didn't go anywhere. You know, and I'm just like, but anyway.
Return to theaters.
Why did they just call it Batman 2? You know, it's like, I always wondered why it was called Batman Returns.
Batman 2.
Or Batman
2 Electric Boogaloo.
Or Batman 2, TOO.
2? Like something Will Ferrell would say.
All right. Let's save our bat talk for next week.
Yeah. We were just previewing the show. It'll be fun. You guys have a good 4th of July?
Yep.
It was quiet for us. For me.
Mine was too long.
Yeah. Man, it was World War III over here.
I went over my brother. Well, I went over my brother's that Saturday before we did the show last week, and that was kind of my July 4th. So Monday, I just hung out with the kids. It was kind of a quiet day. There were some fireworks in my neighborhood, but it actually wasn't too bad this year. So
because Matt, you live in the ghetto.
That is true, Matt.
Yeah, there's some people behind us on both sides, actually, of our house, and they always they spend hundreds on fireworks, and they just light it up. So they did it again this year. I was surprised.
Nope. I didn't spend any. I didn't even go to a fireworks stand, but I heard that prices were pretty extraordinary this year. Like stuff that last year, like let's say 100 pack of Black Cats were $5 were like $10 this year. Like almost everything was double the price. I heard it was
no way I'm spending.
I heard it was pretty expensive
on Black Cats.
Yeah.
The cleanup
it's pretty pricey this year.
For Black Cats. I like the. I always like the bottle rockets, but
I like my money. I'd rather buy toys than just burn my money. So
yeah,
and that's just me. But
I have to agree.
All right, well, let's get into today's show officially with Download This, where I tell people what we watched, streamed, or checked out this week. Whoever wants to go first, man. I went first last week, I think. So
I'll go. I rewatched Thor Ragnarok to get ready for tomorrow's viewing.
There we go.
I still enjoy it, and I just love how Jeff Goldblum is so goofy in that, and I could tell some of his lines were ad-libbed during shooting. But I really like it. I especially love Hulk in that film as well. It's always Mark Ruffalo is always a great presence. Whatever he brings to whatever movie he's in. Started playing the Guardians of the Galaxy video game. It's really good. The graphics are gorgeous. Still trying out my video card and all. And speaking of which, I have a spare video card sitting around here, Mark, if you ever might be interested in it.
ATI Radon?
ATI? No, man. That's poor people video card. I have an NVIDIA. So, it's pretty big. So,
you have a pretty big graphics card?
Yeah.
Whip it out,
I'll show y'all.
Don't keep that.
I'll be right back.
Man, stop! Don't show us that. You're not supposed to ask about the size of it, man.
That's right, man. I'm gonna feed the ego, baby. He's about to. You're
doing play-by-play at home here for the longest, walking around the room trying to swing and bang something.
All right, moving on.
Yes, moving on.
It's in the next room, so
okay.
I'm gonna hold on to it for the next 20 days, just to make sure the new video card pans out all right after a month of usage.
Cool.
Nice. I tried to watch Rush Hour 2 and 3, but I ended up only watching 3. I saw 2 I think a few months ago. That's probably my favorite one in the series, just because the more Michael Jackson stuff from Chris Tucker. But I liked 3, even though it was they waited too long.
Did you rent all of them because they weren't streaming anywhere, which sucks. They used to be on HBO Max.
3 was free on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, I think 3 was on HBO Max, but 1 wasn't,
which was weird because I'm like, why? I did have to rent. I ended up renting 1 because I went to HBO Max and but we'll talk about that later. I did watch the season finale of The Boys, and man, I feel like this season's the best.
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow night.
Yeah, I won't spoil anything.
I doubt I'm gonna stay up tonight after the show and watch it.
Yeah, I actually watched it
Just
while I was
spoil it.
No,
I don't care.
No. But
you long, damn you.
Yeah, the rumor is that they're going to bring that Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Jared Padalecki are rumored for next season, which would be of course Jensen Ackles.
Take that with a grain of salt. Eric Kripe, the showrunner, has said that he has spoken with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but it's basically kind of still in dreamland. That's not even close to happening from what I've heard. Yeah.
Would be cool, but like you said, it's smoke. It's smoke. I don't even know if there's much fire to go with it.
It doesn't seem to be, because it seems like Morgan's schedule is very busy, even after finishing The Walking Dead, and so.
Yeah. Maybe Jared. Who knows? But it definitely took a turn where I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. But cool stuff, man. I can't wait for season 4. I think they're already working on filming it, and we'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes. I definitely liked the last episode 7, with Black Noir and his Looney Tunes imaginary friends that he created to cope with
that
his
episode I can
trauma.
talk about.
Yeah.
I thought that was a brilliant storytelling technique. If you step back for a minute in The Boys and all the violence and sex and craziness and think about that scene, it's genius. It really was to tell Black Noir's story. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah. And it kind of told it felt like history repeating itself, really. Whenever you're watching it, you're like, oh man, this stuff's repeating with Homelander, and then whoa, Truth Bomb, Soldier Boy is Homelander's father.
I saw that coming though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was obvious.
He's man, that I like him in this series, man. I like that Rapture song that he does. The Gold music album where he's singing Rapture. I think Blondie sang it first, and then he's just this fucking uber toxic macho man, and friggin' hilarious. But it's it's accurate. The satirical factor of this movie is just really impressive. I'm even more so entertained than I have been in the previous seasons. One I felt like was a solid season. 2, I felt was a slow build up, for a couple really strong episodes at the end. And then 3, I feel like, it hasn't disappointed the whole time. So can't wait, man. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah. That's
it, baby.
Yeah, I did. I did watch the 7th episode of The Boys since last week, and no, I agree. I think this season's been very good. I casually like The Boys. Like the first 2 years, it took me a while to watch all 8 episodes. I wasn't in a hurry, but this year I've made sure to keep up with it every week because it has been a much better show this year. It's I think it's found its rhythm. Maybe that's a good word for it. It just seems to flow better this year. It continues to get crazier and crazier, and you never know what's going to happen. But it's good shit, man. Not for everybody, because I think that Long hasn't watched it, and I don't think Long should, because I really don't think Long would like The Boys. Just knowing the stuff he likes, I think he'd be like this. I don't know. He might like it. I don't think
maybe.
I'll pull a Mark if it was ever in the theaters. I'll walk out. Walk out of the theater. I watched the first 20 minutes of it, and I saw a dick explode, and I just said, I had enough. I'm walking out.
I've only walked out of one movie ever, so I don't know where that even comes from.
Tropic Thunder?
No, Scary Movie 2. I walked out of
Scary Movie 2.
Oh.
Yep.
That was stupid. I have a friend who walked out of Natural Born Killers. He was with me, and he walked out. He couldn't take it. It was too much for him.
I walked out of Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Stomach finishing it. That was a terrible one.
I don't even remember if I saw that in theaters. I think I saw it on video later on because I heard it was so bad.
Yeah.
I
wanted to see it in theaters, and I heard it was bad.
No, even though I don't like Tropic Thunder, I watched that at home, and I don't think we turned it off or anything. I was watching it with the ex-wife. No, I was watching with the ex-wife, and I think she kind of finished watching it, but I don't remember. I remember seeing most of it. I don't think I didn't turn it off or anything, but I didn't. It lost me after about a while. I kind of stopped paying attention to it. Kind of one of those kind of things with viewing it. But no, that's the only movie I ever walked out of was Scary Movie 2. So it was not good. Well, I watched that. Then I watched. I came home today and I watched a bunch of Stranger Things with my oldest. I think we have 3 episodes left, so we're through the first 6, and this season's really good. It didn't catch me the first episode because the first episode felt like I think I said this on the show before. It felt like, oh, let's reintroduce everybody kind of episode. It's like, oh, come on. Yeah. But as this season goes, man, it's been really good so far, and the special effects budget and the quality. There's a shot in one of the episodes where the camera pulls back to show an airplane, and it's not even necessary. You already know they're on an airplane, but it's a really good CGI shot. I'm like, wow, they really spent some money on this show for this season. It's good, man. Long, have you kept up with Stranger Things through the first 3 seasons?
No, because I'm still pissed off at Netflix for raising prices arbitrarily.
Oh. Long and his moral values. I'm not going even. But
moral values. How about my wallet values?
There you go.
I mean, I kind of agree with you because someone's mom booted me off their Netflix. But we won't talk about that. And made an account for the baby. But anyway,
I am a capitalist, sir. I vote with my wallet.
There we go.
It's not a vote. That's making a choice. But yeah, no, it's really good so far. I'm sure I'll have it finished before we record next week because I want to see how it all ends because all these spoilers are showing up on the internet and I'm trying to avoid them, but some of them are inevitable with the headlines. So I'm like, God damn it, I need to finish the show before it gets all spoiled for me. But good stuff. And then I took the kids to see Minions: The Rise of Gru, and highly entertaining. I mean, those movies, all the Despicable movies, have been very good. They're fun. They're fun films, and this one was no different. The kids laughed a lot. They had a good time at the movies going to see it, and it was legitimately a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed it too. And other than that, I feel like we watched something. Oh, I started last night. I haven't finished. I've never seen The Godfather. Of course, James Kahn passed away, and yesterday, and I didn't realize he was in it. So I started it last night, and I realized why I've never been able to finish it. It's just kind of fucking boring, I know it's considered one of the greatest movies of all time, but man, I don't know. I'm going to try to finish it because I feel like it's something I should see, being a movie buff like I am, but like, I might have to do like I watched about the first 35 minutes last night. I feel like maybe I just need to watch it 30-minute increments. Maybe it'll work better for me as a miniseries, which is actually how they showed it on television back in the 80s. They showed it as like a 4-day miniseries. They split it up into like these blocks and showed it on television.
Milking that ad time, baby. Milking that ad time.
Yeah. And, I can appreciate the acting in it because, Marlon Brando and all, there's a lot of really great actors in it. It's just, but it's got that 1972 slow burn feel like a lot of movies had back then. And, but I think I'll give it a chance to try to finish it. And everyone says part 2 is even better and it's a little more action oriented. So,
well, speaking of Godfather, I've been seeing clips of this Paramount show that was about the making of the Godfather.
Yeah,
kind of reenacting it. You heard of it? And Francis Ford Coppola is played by Jason Fogler. I think that's his name. From what was that Star Wars fan film that he was in?
Fanboys.
Yeah, Fanboys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fogler.
Balls of Fury. Yeah. And Balls of Fury. Yeah, he's a pretty good dramatic actor too. Playing Francis Ford Coppola. Miles Teller's in it too. And they found a really good actor to play Pacino. And, but yeah, I've been seeing clips of that show. I forgot what it was called, and also another mob star died today. Tony Sirico from The Sopranos.
Sopranos, yeah. Sopranos actor.
Paulie. He played Paulie Walnuts from freaking Sopranos. Yeah. He died today too.
Yeah, I think that's part of it too. I'm not like I like Goodfellas. I'm not a huge fan of the mobster genre. I guess that's part of it too. Trying to get through The Godfather. Like I don't hate the genre. Like if the movie's really captivating, like Goodfellas is, I can watch it. But it's it's not one of my most favorite genres either.
No, it's
and. I remember seeing Road to Perdition. Everybody really liked that. I didn't really care for that movie too much either. I mean, it's kind of depressing, honestly. Road to Perdition. It's like, That
was Paul Newman's last film, I think.
Was it?
I believe so.
Yeah. But I'll try to make it through The Godfather and see. I'll report back later. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I watched this week, really. But Minions, and then. next week, I'm sure we'll all talk about Thor. I know me and Long are seeing it tomorrow. Matt, I'm sure you'll probably catch it at some point with the next week. And we'll talk about Thor, Love and Thunder on next week's episode of the show. But let's get into today's feature film. I kind of want to apologize for picking this movie. I mean, I was like, we talked about doing a Jackie Chan movie, and I should have listened to Long's opinion and picked a better Jackie Chan movie, because Long is very familiar with a lot more Asian film sometimes than I am. And maybe we should have done Legend of Drunken Master or something, because, man, we chose Rush Hour, and rewatching this movie, I was like, oh, man, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like, it's not good either, though. You know?
There are good things about it. This was Jackie Chan's first big American role that brought him, notoriety to the American screen.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a simple story. Basically, a consulate's daughter is kidnapped, and so he brings in Inspector Lee, which is played by Jackie Chan, because that's his friend, to help with the investigation. And he's friends with a little girl, but the FBI wants nothing to do with the consulate's people, so they have this police officer played by Chris Tucker. Basically want him to babysit Lee and entertain him while they do their own investigation, but Tucker and Chan are going to have nothing to do with that. They're going to go after the little girl themselves, because the little girl is very important to Jackie Chan's character. And so there's it's a buddy comedy, basically, as they try to rescue this little girl. When Chan and Tucker are on screen, that's when the movie works the best. They do have quite a charisma with each other. Despite some of the very dated jokes for this movie. Some of them hold up well, and some of them, in today's current culture, they're a little cringe. You're like, oh, they got away with this in 1996. Well, it's nice.
You know what went on behind the scenes? Like, so they were doing their lines, and Chris Tucker kept ad-libbing, and so Jackie Chan behind the scenes says, I don't understand any of the words that are coming out of that guy's mouth in his own native tongue to a translator. The translator told Chris Tucker that, so he ad-libbed that into the scene. It was an inside joke between the two actors. So it's like, whenever you put it in context, you're like, okay,
it's not as racist as it came across to me.
Yeah, if you're just watching it at face value and you have no idea what went on between the two actors behind the scene, who actually developed a really good relationship after this movie, you're like, oh, that's might be a little distasteful. Should I be laughing at that? But Chris Tucker is just a great pick for this role. Obviously they wanted Martin Lawrence at first, and if Chris Tucker wouldn't have picked up, they were thinking of going with Chris Farley. But Chris Tucker did a great job. His ad-libbing definitely threw Jackie Chan off, because, of course, they wanted him to do this film in English. And Jackie Chan, he felt like his English wasn't strong, and he wasn't really open to doing it at first with Brett Ratner. But Ratner convinced him to do it. And, so he's visibly confused in some of these scenes, and it's true confusion, because he's like, wait, he wasn't supposed to say that. So it threw off his lines, but he went with it, and it's great, Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw this in theaters, because I remember it was a massive. It's crazy, because it was a big hit, 33 million opening weekend. It went on to do really well worldwide. That's the reason it got 2 sequels, because you rewatch this, you're like, this is okay. How did this get 2 sequels? And you're like, oh, it made some fucking money. That's how it got 2 sequels. It made Chris Tucker a star. I mean, he was already doing pretty well. He did The Fifth Element already, because this was a year after The Fifth Element, I believe. And so it made him a star. But strangely, other than the Rush Hour movies, he hasn't done a whole lot since. In fact, I was looking, he hasn't really done any major film in 7-8 years. So I'm not sure what happened. Huh?
Yeah, he did Rush Hour 1, he did Rush Hour 2. Then, 5-year break, he didn't do jack squat. And then he goes back and forth with the studio on Rush Hour 3, gets $25 million out of it for Rush Hour 3. And, basically on the premise of, you can't make this movie without me. Obviously, the makings of Rush Hour 3, as far as like box office revenue, didn't match what they paid Chris Tucker versus the other films, how successful they were.
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
to be honest. I mean, what they were about. Long man, your initial thoughts seeing Rush Hour, and
Well, I liked it when I first saw it in the theaters. Kind of funny. I went and saw this when I was in Austin back in 1998 or 99.
98, I believe.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it, and yeah, some of the stereotype jokes bothered me a little bit. It's alright. The action sequences were well done. I'm just glad that the Hollywood style of filming action, like quick cuts and close-ups and shaky cam, was not in it, because Jackie Chan and his stunt team did a great job of having that stuff filmed properly. Not really much for me to say about it other than not bad.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was thinking that when I was watching it, because I just watched it yesterday. I rented it on Vudu, watched it, and I did find like it was kind of refreshing to watch a kind of 90s style action film where you could see what was going on. Brett Ratner does a good job setting up shots. Like I said, not a lot of shaky cam, not a lot up close. So you allow for Jackie Chan's stunt work to be seen on screen and do well, and even Chris Tucker and his job with the movie. I thought it was funny. Tom Wilkinson, who's been on playing Batman Begins and other movies, he plays the villain in this, and it also falls into those 90s tropes of I mean, you knew from the beginning of the movie he was the bad guy, even though they don't reveal it till later on. It's pretty obvious, It's just like that was such a common thing back then to introduce the bad guy as the good guy, but you already know he's the bad guy. That happened a lot in 90s action films. It had the guy who went on to the Asian guy who went on to be in Lost and in the X-Men films. I can't think of the actor's name. Playing the blonde-haired henchman for Juntao, and I thought that was I was like, oh, there's the guy from the X-Men movies. I was like, he's in this, and I do like. I was watching this, and I do like Chris Tucker, man. I was like, I feel like, I mean, he was good in Friday, of course, but I feel like he just feels like he could have been a bigger star. And I actually did research it, like what happened to him. Why did he not have a more successful career other than these films? And I couldn't find any information. So I wonder if it's by choice that he chose just to, kind of do his own thing. I couldn't even find like what he's doing now. I mean,
Yeah,
what happened?
He did a stand-up, a year or two ago, for Netflix. But no, he's just enjoying the money that he made naturally. It's like, well, why should he keep working when he has made all that money that most people could ever dream of having? So,
yeah, I mean, I'm sure this film's, making pretty good on its royalties. Obviously, with whenever it first came out, it had a budget of $33 million, and worldwide it ended up grossing $244 million. So that's crazy. Just over $200 million in profits in '98, and that's a gold mine right there. Yeah. And it's funny. Brett Ratner, he traveled to a film location where Jackie Chan was filming another location to pitch this film to him, and he wanted to be in an American film, because he, in his own words, he felt like Japan. He liked how Japan did, the Asian film market did action.
Talk about Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah. Sorry, I can't think. How they did action.
Well, because all Asian countries are the same to you. Is that right, Matt? Is that right?
What?
No, I'm joking.
No, but he liked how they did action, but he felt like it was different than how the U.S. did action movies. That there was a lot of dialogue and some character buildup.
It was safer.
You had short bursts of action versus like 10 minutes. He said he was used to 10 minutes straight action and then just a little bit of dialogue. And the script is what really sold him. And I feel like Brett Ratner did a pretty good job of balancing a pretty good storyline where you kind of see, this relationship grow between Jackie and Chris. And you have some good action scenes too, even though if you probably take all of Jackie's fight scenes and put them together and you time it, it's probably like less than 10 minutes of action throughout the whole film, because the action scenes are so tight. I feel like they move on quickly, but Jackie still does his thing, and he still uses everything around him. And he does a really good job of that. I think he did that the best in Shanghai Nights, where he's like using umbrellas. He's using like a jacket, and just his choreography team is always top notch. They always bring it, and this film's nothing short of that for sure.
Well, I mean, in Hollywood, he says that it's actually safer to do action scenes in Hollywood because in Hong Kong, it's like they use cardboard and mattresses for falls.
Oh,
while in America they use like large airbags and stuff for falls.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, plus it was safer, and the insurance companies have more sway in America than they do in Hong Kong, and because in Hong Kong there's hardly any regulation at all for businesses. It's almost a free enterprise over there, completely free enterprise. So there's hardly any oversight in Hong Kong. Back in the day, now of course.
Yeah, now probably different. I feel like the score's good. Long, we always mention talking about music on the show. I feel like this has got a pretty good, strong soundtrack, even though they didn't include a war on the soundtrack. And I like that scene because they're just, the language barrier, they make that into a joke. He's like, no, it's huh, huh, huh. And it's the same person who scored Enter the Dragon scored this film. So I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't realize that. Yep.
He also did Dirty Harry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did do Dirty Harry. And
pretty unique style.
Yeah, he and I guess whenever they released it, he put bits of the movie's audio. And the studio released the soundtrack to the film. They released a little bit of audio in between the score from Jackie and Chris Tucker, and it ended up doing pretty well in sales. But yeah, man, I feel like this is a film that you can still find entertaining, and I liked it. It's pretty simple, but sometimes less is more, and I feel like I can still enjoy this film, just even watching it today. And I like how they give away the title in like the first 5 minutes, and he pulls the gun. He's like, "It's just Rush Hour."
Yeah, I do feel some of the jokes. I mean, I guess in the current climate of 2022, some of the jokes are some hit and some like, and that's a little rough even for 1996, or 98. But I think you also, when we watch these older movies, we talked about this before, you have to, I guess, kind of just say, hey, it's a different time. Things were different back then. Those kind of jokes might have been acceptable. And, nowadays you probably wouldn't see movies that make those kind of jokes like this did. But to that said, though, that's what comedy's supposed to do. Comedy is, supposed to sometimes offend and sometimes make you laugh. And I think that falls in this category too, because like you said, I think Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, their relationship in this movie is what makes it funny and makes the jokes work. I like the part where he changes the radio. Oh, you don't ever touch a black man's radio. And I just and, he's just looking at him, and there's some pretty funny moments in it. And I mean, it's arguably probably Jackie Chan's most popular release in America. I mean, a lot of people remember this movie. More hardcore cinema fans might remember other things. I remember seeing Rumble in the Bronx in theaters when it had a re-release here in America. His Karate Kid film actually surprised me because it surprised me how good it was. It was actually a pretty good remake, even though it wasn't karate; it was more kung fu. But it was a good movie.
Yeah. I'm surprised that movie was so well received. Whenever he's looking at Will Smith's kid and saying "jacket on, jacket off," he tells him to jack it off. And I'm like, whoa, that's not karate.
Only you remember that part.
That's my toilet humor, love of toilet humor showing.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yep. I would throw that in there. I did like the film, though. Yeah.
Your mind's a toilet.
I still want to watch. It's on Netflix. I want to watch that new one he put out a couple of years ago, Jackie Chan, the Foreigner. I heard it was pretty good. So.
I saw that film he did with Arnold, but it wasn't that great. This is the story. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty bad when Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan make a movie and it gets released in Russia, first of all places. It must not have been a very good movie. I don't know. Rush Hour was pretty. It was fun to watch. It was a little cringy at times to watch. But I did think, like, how did this movie get 2 sequels until I realized how much money it made. I really feel like maybe it just came out at the right time because critics were kind of divided by it. Some critics liked it, some didn't. That's kind of how I feel. I'm kind of divided on it. Like, it's an entertaining film, but I can admit that it's not like the best film. I'd probably give it maybe a B.
I agree.
We give it a B+. And we forgot to mention Chris Penn, the late Chris Penn.
Oh, yeah, he appears at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. And in the middle, because they tracked that detonator that Juntao's henchman drops to Chris Penn, because that was who he was selling the C4 to.
Yeah, that was a convenient plot device.
Chris Penn.
I only ever liked Chris Penn, and I liked him in the stuff he did with Tarantino, like True Romance and
Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs. I always thought Chris Penn played a great tough guy. But you put him like in a comedy, and I don't know. He's all right. He's just better like a mean guy.
Utilized in a different way.
Yeah. But Rush Hour, cool. Well, let's we missed a couple weeks ago, and the last week we had a lot to get caught up on Obi-Wan. So we did not do our this month in pop culture history for the month of July yet. So we're going to do that before we get some news. Matt, bring us what you got this month for pop culture history.
Yes, sir. This month in pop culture history, in 1977, The Spy Who Loved Me, the 10th James Bond film starring Roger Moore and Barbara Bach, premieres in London. And we covered this movie on the show. It's one of the best Bond films for sure. I think it being the 10th James Bond film, you could probably fit it in a top 10 easily.
So 77. So the first one was 62. So yeah, I guess it's about right. 18 years, 10 films. Yeah. And it's crazy how fast they cranked films out back then compared to now. Sometimes, now it takes them a lot longer, but yeah, I mean, it is a good film. Probably my favorite of the Roger Moore movies. I remember we did on the show. It was fun. It was a fun one. Good movie. I know Longest War amongst one of your favorites too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And speaking about Comic-Cons, 1982, the 15th San Diego Comic-Con International opens at the Hotel San Diego. And I thought that was cool. 82 it was number 15. So I didn't go back and research when it first started, but I just thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it started out, it was a hotel con for many years, and then it finally started getting bigger, kind of the late 80s, early 90s, and it's in, 2 weeks from now? Yeah, I think it's the week after Compalooza. And it's back for the first time in a couple of years. It looks like they're going to have their full crowds, and Should be lots of, hopefully these studios bring in this year and bring us lots of good news and stuff that's coming up now that theaters are going back full swing and the world is getting back to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, we've got billion-dollar films in the box office. It's a good time. It's a good sign.
Dude, now you guys have this little tangent here. I know you haven't seen it yet, but man, got to be impressed with the amount of money that Top Gun is making. I mean, in a summer when you got other tentpole films out, and this thing just keeps. It made another $30 million this past weekend. It's been out 6 weeks. I mean, it just incredible legs people were having for this movie, and deservedly so because it's a great fucking film.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, that's impressive. Because like Spider-Man made a lot of money, but Spider-Man made a lot of money like in the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then it slowly did okay. But man, Top Gun has just had incredible legs. You know, just the way it's done at the box office.
Oh yeah.
Don't you mean wings?
Yes. I love it. 1981. Escape from New York, directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell and Donald Pleasance, premieres in the U.S. We also covered this film. And, there's been some comicbook.com stories about his son doing an escape movie, but I don't think it'll happen. But this movie was cool, very dark.
Which movie was it?
Escape from New York. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
1981.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about studio wanting to remake that, and but it hasn't really gotten off the ground. I just, I don't really see. I think it was relevant when it came out. It's a good science fiction movie, but I just, I don't know. I don't think it needs to be remade. That's one that just kind of leave it alone.
Yeah. We've got a birthday coming up this weekend. Sofia Vergara is going to be 49. And she doesn't look it. She looks like she's like 30 with 29 years of experience,
I would take all that experience and enjoy it every second. And look, speaking of Tom Cruise, last week we forgot to mention his birthday last week. That kind of becomes a sort of tradition every year where we say, "Happy birthday, Tom Cruise."
Well, you know what? Like the last 2 years, it seemed like you just happened to have picked a Tom Cruise movie on
I know we
birthday.
did do that on accident, yeah.
You did. I think last year you did Minority Report, and then the year before that it was Mission Impossible, or vice versa.
Something, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. So. Funny.
Next year it will be Collateral.
Yes. Hey, that's a good one.
This is very good. It's a Michael Mann film.
Yes. Sorry. 1923, the Hollywood sign is officially dedicated in the hills above Hollywood, Los Angeles. It originally read Hollywood Land, but the last 4 letters were dropped after a renovation in 1949.
No, it was the Rocketeer, dude. Remember the guy ran into it in the movie? That's how it became Hollywood.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. A lot of people... it's kind of become an urban legend over the years that it originally said Hollywood Land, but it did, and people forget that. And then they, like you said, they ended up saying Hollywood.
So, we talked about a birthday, a few, but we also had a death anniversary coming up. Marlon Brando, of course, he played Jor-El in the Superman film, and he was a well-known actor, and he of course passed away in July of 2004. So he's got a death anniversary coming up.
He's still considered one of the greatest screen actors of all time. Not always known to be easy to work with. He was notorious for being quite the jerk on set.
And lazy.
Lazy. Yes, lazy, jerk. Him and you can read stories about him and Val Kilmer clashing on the set of The Island of Dr. Monroe. They just did not get along at all. And Christopher Reeve.
Him and Frank Oz as well.
Frank Oz.
Frank Oz has nothing nice to ever say about him. Christopher Reeve has done interviews when he did Superman, and people asked him, and Reeve did not like to say anything bad about anyone, but he would just smirk when Marlon Brando comes up and would say no comment. So, yeah, not no well to work with, but is considered one of our great screen actors of all time.
A couple more things. 2011 in July, we scratch our heads sometimes when whenever this is brought up. Ryan Reynolds divorced Scarlett Johansson due to irreconcilable differences. And it's
what's wrong with
what's wrong? I know, right?
I would reconcile those differences.
For real. Like, honey, what do I need to change? You tell me, help me help you. I mean, Blake Lively, she's cute, but she's no ScoJo.
No.
She's not.
I think Blake Lively's a beautiful woman.
She is.
We agree on that, but she's not ScoJo.
Only ScoJo is ScoJo, baby.
That's right.
And lastly, I did this one just for long. 1980, the comedy film Airplane, written and directed by David Zucker, Jim Abrams, and Jerry Zucker, starring Robert Hayes and Julie Haggerty, premieres in theaters this month.
Still a funny film.
Yeah.
All right.
And that is this month in TV and film history.
Good shit, man. Good shit. Thank
Thanks.
you, Matt, for doing that. All right, let's do some news before we get out of here. We have a director for Captain America 4, Julius Ona, I think is how you say his last name. His biggest thing he's done was the infamous Cloverfield Paradox movie that was released on Super Bowl Sunday a couple years ago, where they put out the trailer and the movie was available that night. And that did y'all ever? I watched it just because I've watched the Cloverfield films, and that one was really confusing. I'm not sure what the hell the movie was about. I don't know if you guys ever watched that one in the Cloverfield.
The one with John Goodman?
No, that's the one. That's 10 Cloverfield Lane. That one was good, but no, this was the one. It came out Super Bowl Sunday on Netflix, and they put it out like that night, and it was just real confusing. I'm not really sure what it had to do with Cloverfield or anything. It was bizarre. But he's going to direct I almost said Anthony Mackie as Sam in Captain America 4. So we have a director. So they are moving along on the fourth Captain America film. Staying with Marvel, this is big news. We all wondered when Kingpin and Daredevil would show up next in the MCU, now that we know they've been reintroduced, and they're going to show up in Echo. Suddenly, I care about that show, to be honest, because I didn't really care, but with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio coming back to play Daredevil and Kingpin, I will definitely watch it now, because I love the character of Daredevil. I love the show.
So what's Echo about?
I don't know a lot about her. Long she's kind of a newer character in the Marvel Universe. Of course, she appeared in Hawkeye. I don't know a whole ton about her, so we'll see what the show's about when it comes out. James Cameron did a little press this week for Avatar: The Way of Water, and he is. I did not know this. He is now kind of confirmed. They shot 2 and 3 back to back, and they were going to take a break and come back and shoot 4 and 5. Now he's saying he might not even direct 4 and 5. He might pass on the directors to someone else, which also makes it sound to me like 4 and 5 is not guaranteed unless these movies make a lot of money, which I'm sure they will. But that's kind of what that sounds like. And he's also telling people prepare yourselves that Avatar is going to be 3 hours, and he doesn't want to hear any bitching about it. Yeah, I mean, he said something along the lines of like, my grandchildren can sit there and watch 3 hours of a television show, and you're going to tell me they're going to complain about a 3-hour movie? So, yeah, I don't know where it came from. I don't remember the last people complained about a 3-hour movie, but hey, I guess Cameron felt like
maybe a small group.
Yeah. And then lastly, we got a trailer this week for Clerks 3 finally. Yay. And it looks hilarious. I wish it was getting a bigger release. Kevin Smith is going to roll it out as a roadshow release where we'll go to city with meet and greets and watch the film. And it's also having a 2-night Fathom Events release in September. I'm going to try to catch one of those if I can, because it's like a Tuesday and Thursday night, and try to catch one of the Fathom event releases. You would think Clerks was still big enough to get a bigger theatrical release than that, but I guess it's the way that the Lionsgate and him are choosing to release the film. But I really enjoyed the trailer, just getting to see all those old kind of friends again, you could say, watching these films over the years, and it truly looks funny and a lot of fun.
Very meta.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, you had the movies about Randall having a heart attack, so Kevin took his own experience of that and making a movie about his life, essentially. So it looks kind of good. Should be fun. I enjoy most of what Kevin does. We won't talk about Yoga Hosers, though, because that was not very good. So,
yeah.
But, that's it. That's all I got in the news. Other than, I mean, I mentioned it real briefly, but before we get out, we should mention we did talk about James Kahn passing this week. Definitely an iconic actor. Hasn't done a lot of acting in the last several years or so. He's done some B movies and things like that, but he made a name for himself in the 70s and 80s, and always played a tough guy. Of course, he was in Elf and playing the dad, and was supposed to be a tough guy dad. And I always remember him from Alien Nation in that movie, and the TV show Las Vegas he was on, and definitely a good actor, and he'll be missed.
Rip, man. I remember him in Eraser. That's where I first saw him on screen.
Yeah, I don't remember Eraser enough to remember a minute, but I'll believe you. So, all right. Well, before we get out of here,
he was in Misery. Don't forget.
Yeah, I knew
Misery.
Yeah, Misery.
Yeah,
he was good in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get out of here, let's preview next week's film. It's available on Hulu to watch. And it is a movie with Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale. And, there's not a whole lot of dragon movies out there. There's been some over the years. There was Dragon Slayer back in the 80s, which was pretty good. But there I feel like this should be this is a genre that should exist. There should be more movies with freaking dragons in them, We're going to talk Reign of Fire on next week's show.
Creature has been awakened that has lain dormant for millions of years. A species older than the dinosaurs and more terrifying than anything we could have imagined.
How did they go from 1 to a million in less than a year?
Highly evolved.
They have great vision in the day. They have even better vision at night.
Extremely intelligent.
He's playing hide and seek.
More like cat and mouse.
Unbelievably powerful.
2 glands in the mouth. Secrete separate chemicals.
Combining exhalation, natural napalm.
Good luck.
Now one will protect them.
We have to hang on, work together.
And one will lead them.
There's nothing magical about it. They're made of flesh and blood. You take out their heart, you bring down the beast.
We found out where they started. We're going to London.
This summer,
Vertical one up.
the plan is set.
1,600 yards, closing fast.
The arsenal has been assembled.
Get ready to rock and roll. For each other!
And they've got one chance to take back their world. Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale. Reign of Fire.
I think this movie's pretty badass in some ways. It's not great, but it's definitely a guilty pleasure kind of film. Watching McConaughey kick ass and fight these dragons and Christian Bale's character, and I think Gerard Butler's in it too, if I remember right, one of his early roles. And it's been a bit since I watched it. I bought it on my Vudu account a few weeks ago when they had it $5 since I knew we were going to cover it, and then I saw it's on Hulu too. So, have you guys seen it before?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I saw it once.
I have a pretty funny story to tell about this movie, which I'll tell next week. And as I saw it with Frank, and it was something that occurred on our way home. No, it's not.
It's trouble.
I'm going to save the story for next week. It's pretty funny what happened on the way home that night, because it's one of those things as a guy you'll never forget. So we'll save that suspense for next week. But until then, the rebelradiopodcast.com. That is our official website. We're on all the apps, of course, so you can find the show anywhere. And we thank you, as always, for listening. Just continue to stay safe. And this has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Long.
And until next week, remember, as always, just go there and do it.